started, to make the body, you will need a 4mm hook and a 4.5mm hook, a stitch marker, and I'm going to recommend a piece of yarn to just throw over the rounds once we discard using the stitch marker. It's your choice, but I think you'll find that it's going to be easier to have a piece of yarn in a contrasting color. All right, so to get started, let me just tell you what color I'm using in case you like this and would like to use it yourself. This is, I love this cotton, and the color is gold. So you're going to create a magic ring. Use whatever method you prefer. I will demonstrate mine. So I do where I bring it over. Let me do that again. It comes to the left, pinch, get your hook, scoop up from behind. You see how that creates a little bit of a slip knot almost. Then yarn over to secure it. This does not count as a stitch. Then let me straighten my loop back out. Pull it a little bit. Then I'm going to pinch to make sure that I'm working over the tail and the loop. Let me move my working yarn, the tail and the loop. So I want my stitches to come over both of these. So from here, I will make my 6 single crochet into the body. Just gonna be careful that they don't twist. They're easy to locate. I'm not gonna be too tight with them, then they're hard to work into. There's 1, 2, whoops, under both loops, 3, let me pull it a little more so it's not wiggling too much, 4, 5, and 6. And I will pull my tail and close it. And then I always just double check that I can see all 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 6. So at this point I'm going to put the stitch marker in. I'm gonna put it in the last stitch of the round. You can do your join and then put it in on the first, but I just put it here because with these tight little stitches at first, it can be kind of hard to know where you're at. At least that's how it is for me. Right, so for this round, when I say there are increases, the written, you don't need the written pattern to make this, but if you have it, it just says to evenly space anytime the round is increased. So this increases from 6 to 9. So I'm going to add 3 increases in this round. Pull up. We're working in a spiral, no slipping to join. 1. I'll put 2 in that stitch. There's 1 increase, single crochet. I'll increase again. That'll bring me up to 5 stitches. There's 1, 2 in this stitch. Next stitch I'll do 1, so that's 6 stitches. Next stitch I'll do another increase. That's 7 stitches. 2 in that stitch makes it 8. And then now I'm back to my stitch marker in the 6th stitch, and that will make it 9 stitches for this round. Right, now I will move my stitch marker. Since I've worked my stitches in this last stitch, I'm going to move it into the new last stitch. And then after this round, I'm going to start using the contrasting yarn color, because all this pilly back and forth with the stitch marker will make me nuts. All right, so the next round is going to increase us 3 more stitches. So we'll go from these 9 current stitches to 12. Here's my first stitch. And I'll put 2 in there. So that's 2 stitches. Next stitch, 1. So that's 3 stitches. Next stitch, 1. Next stitch, I'll do 2 in here. That's 5, so now we have 6 stitches. So I just need one more increase, and that'll bring me up to 12. And we'll put it in this stitch here. Both loops on hook. 1 and 2. And then 2 left in the round. And there's my 12. Right, so let's say goodbye to this. Bring up my contrast color. Let's do this black yarn. So now we're going to do a little bit of a bigger jump just so that the acorn base is not so pointed. So we'll go from 12 to 18. I'm going to put the yarn in here before I start the round. Check and see where that first stitch is, right here. And I'll increase this first one. So we need 6 increases in this round. That's the first one. Now I'll do another increase here in the 4th stitch. Let's do another one here. My 3rd increase. I need 3 more. That here. And then 2 in the last will get me to 18. And then just move this up. Right, next round is just a 3 increase from 18 to 21. First stitch. Alright, so round 4 is done. I have 21 stitches, and round 5 is just a regular round of 21 stitches. There is no increase for this round. So I'm going to single crochet around and I will meet you back. I split my yarn. We cannot have split yarn in our beautiful acorn. Right, so now for round 6. I'm going to do another increase, but also this round will be half double crochet. So yarn over, we're going to increase by 5 stitches. So there's 1 half double crochet, and then I'll put a second one in that stitch. So about every 4th stitch I'll do an increase. Okay, so now my second increase. 1, 2. Make sure that when you're crocheting, this is the side that's facing out, not this side that looks like a seed stitch. This kind of look will be on the top of our acorn, and it shouldn't be showing down here. I want it to be unique to the lid of the acorn. Okay, so there's increase, and I need 3 more increases. Now at this point, I want to start slipping to join my rounds so that the rounds look even when, or that the body looks even when we stuff the acorn. So I slipped that round, or I slipped that first stitch, and I'll chain 1. And this next round is double crochet, I'm sorry, not double crochet, half double crochet, but it is an increase round. So you'll be going from 26 stitches to 32 stitches. So go back into that same stitch that you just slipped, that's still a stitch. 1, put this in here so I know where I'm at. 2, and then I'll do my increase here. The next, I do it early on with all the slipping and chaining and all that, it's going to look a little bit too bungled up there. So there's my first increase. I need what's that, 6 increases for this round. So there's my first one, from 26 to 32 stitches. Second increase. Okay, so I'll just keep working around, and you will slip to join. I don't want 2 in there. You will slip to join at the end of this round also. And going forward, we'll be slipping to join our rounds. All right, there's 32. I slipped to join my round. Let's move the stitch marker. And now the next round, we're going to start with double crochet. Start building this up. So yarn over, don't chain, nothing like that. Go into that first stitch. This is also an increase round. We'll be going from 32 to 38. So we'll add 6 stitches in this round, working double crochet. 1, 2, and again, I'll wait till I'm away from that starting chain to do my increases. So I'll do one here in the 3rd stitch. And I'll keep working around, double crochet, increasing to 38. Right, I'm coming to the end of the round. Oops. So this is my 38 double crochet. Make sure that you have 38. We need an exact number to work the pattern of the body. Let me move my stitch marker and then slip into that first stitch to join. Now at this point, I am going to move up to the 4.5 hook. So goodbye for my beloved red hook. It's my favorite hook in the world. And then now single crochet. So we're setting up the alpine stitch at this point. And working in the round, it needs an even number of stitches. So I just slipped into that stitch, chain 1, and I'll start working my 38 single crochet around. All right, so now we start working the double crochet and front post double crochet that creates that signature alpine stitch texture. So I've slipped to join my round. I'm going to chain 2. So this is the repeat. This is the second row of the repeat. I'm going to skip the first single crochet and double crochet into the first double crochet 2 rows below. So that was that setup row of 38 double crochet. And that stitch is, let me see, where are my slip stitch rows here? Here. So this is the front post. You go in behind that post and work your double crochet that way. Then you double crochet up here. So let's look and see where that goes. Find the first single crochet of the round. Here, that one I skipped, this is the one that goes with the front post double crochet, so this is the next one. And work my double crochet into that. Then front post the next. So I skip this one because that's worked up here and go into this one. So get my hook in there. Feel that was the increase. Go behind the post, come up, pull up high, and finish the double crochet. Yarn over, and go behind and check. So I'll skip this stitch and double crochet here. And you just keep alternating like this around the row. Skip this, go into the next, and work the front post double crochet. Turn over, skip this one, go into the next, front post double crochet. So it's going to be looking like this. And then watch your stitch count when you come around that you have 38 stitches total. So you'll have, what do we have? 19 of each double crochet and front post double crochet to total the 38. Right, so I'm at the end of the round. I'm finishing with a double crochet. So start with a front post, finish with a regular double crochet. Then slip stitch, let's move this into the top of the first front post double crochet. Chain 1, then single crochet around, and make sure you're working into that stitch that you just slipped into, because that is stitch 1, and this last double crochet is stitch 38. So I'm going to single crochet the 38 around, and this is, let's see, this is round 11, but it's round 3 of the alpine stitch repeat, 4-row repeat. Okay, so I'm finishing the round. I'm slipping to join and get my marker back in here. Even though, I'll tell you, even though you'll know when you're at the end of your round, because you'll see that this starts with single crochet when you get here, the join area at the end of the round can end up getting a little bungled, and then this intersection area can just get all over the place. So it's nice to have that stitch marker to let you know where you're at and which stitch exactly, you know, one placement off will build over time as you do repeats of this working in the round. All right, so this is the final round of the repeat. So the difference with this round and then the other alpine stitch round, the double crochet, front post double crochet, is what you do at the beginning. So it's going to be alternating. The hallmark of this stitch is that staggered front post. So for this, I'm going to double crochet in the first stitch, which is the stitch that was slipped. That's right here. You can see the stitch. If I pull up, I can see which one it was worked into. I'll go into that and work my double crochet. So that chain 2 does not count as a stitch, it is for height. Then yarn over, front post, we'll skip this where this front post was, that goes with this stitch up here. Go into the one that's kind of receded back and bring that up nice and high, and then work the double crochet in that front post. Yarn over, look behind just to make sure you skip this one because you worked the post of it, and go into this next stitch here. Let's look more closely. Can you see that? So I'm skipping this one and working into the one next to it. And then you work this like you did the last round. So again, leave that because that's a single crochet. Go into the one that's receded in between the pronounced one. And work the front post double crochet. Again, looking back just to make sure I go into the right stitch, skipping that one right there. Pull up, yarn over, double crochet. Yarn over, not here, this one. And when you're going behind your post, let me rework this one. Let's talk about this. When you're going behind the post, make sure you're not coming all the way down in here. Just right there. You don't need to go down too deep. Just right there. And work that front post double crochet. Skip, work this one here. And just continue to alternate around. And then that's the end of the alpine sequence. If you're enjoying this pattern, please leave a like, comment below, and consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps me keep bringing you free content and educational content and ideas. Right, I will meet you at the end of the round and give you instruction to finish the rest of the body, and then we'll work on the top and the little finer details. Okay, so I'm coming to the end of the round. And with this round, the last stitch is going to be a front post double crochet. So yarn over, here I did my double crochet up here, and find down here where that double crochet is. Bring it up. Whoops. Don't go too far down, like I mentioned earlier. Just enough. And then, gosh, why can't I get this stitch right? Let's go down again. Let me split my yarn. And you will slip into the top of the double crochet, that first one in the round. So let's look at what that is. Here's the chain 2 and then the double crochet. So it'll be this stitch here. Slip, move this, chain 1, and then this is how the repeat starts. So we go back to making that single crochet all the way around. And then I will put in the slide after this how many times to repeat this. And then I'll be back and we'll be moving on to the top finishing section. All right, so I finished my last round, which is, let me see where I'm at. round 22, and from here, let me show you. I'm going to work some decreased rounds of single crochet, and then the cap will go over this. Let's finish the body first. So change back to your 4mm hook, and I'm going to use my handy scrap of yarn here. And each round will decrease by 4 stitches. So the first round, you're at 38 stitches for the body. We're going to reduce that down to 34 stitches in this round. I'll work a few, and then to decrease, use single crochet 2 together. So you go into the first stitch, pick up a loop, go into the second stitch, pick up a loop, yarn over, pull through all of them. So that has just worked the 2 stitches into 1 stitch. I'll work a few more and do another one until I've done that decrease 4 times, evenly spaced in this round. So every, I don't know, maybe 7 stitches. Decrease again. Let me do that again. In case you're new to decrease, go into the first stitch, pull up a loop, next stitch, pull up a loop, 3 loops on hook, yarn over, pull through all 3. So that's my second decrease. Do a few more stitches. Work another one. So I don't want to work my last decrease and first decrease too close together because that will make it lopsided. So I waited about 3 stitches from the start to do a decrease, and when I come around to do my last one, I'll be about 3 stitches or so from that end of round stitch. Here I am, last decrease, 1 more. Two, and then here I am back at my starting yarn. So you'll do that 2 more times. You're going to do the next round a decrease to 30 stitches, and the round after that you will decrease to 26 stitches, and I'll put that up on the screen, and then we will start working on the cap. Alright, so I've done my 3 rounds of decreases and slipped to join and cut the tail. So I'm going to weave this in a little bit, then stuff it. This doesn't have to be perfect. It's going to be hidden under the cap. I don't really see the need to close it all the way up because the cap will be over it and stitched onto this. And also, if you would like, you can make this kind of be up slightly. I like it kind of flat on top, but that's up to you. All right, so stuffing, I'm gonna put a tiny bit. I really don't like to use polyfill if I don't have to. Use other things. I have a whole post that I will, hopefully I'll remember to link it, of polyfill alternatives. But down in the little tip, I'm using polyfill, and then the rest, because this will never get wet, I have no need to wash this. I'm going to use my junk mail shredded paper from my shredder. That's how I recycle junk mail. Kind of stiff, you know, some junk mail has the thicker pieces of paper. And just work that in there. I do this mostly with my seasonal crafts because they don't sit out all year and collect dust, right? I put them out for 3 or 4 months, then they get wrapped up in, you know, a bag or something and then tucked away so they won't be collecting dust. And then the polyfill doesn't irritate my eyes this way. Otherwise, it makes my eyes itch and, you know, petroleum and all that, but you do use what you like, what you're comfortable with. I even use my pet hair. I have a whole video on alternatives, but the problem with, let me show you while I'm on the subject, because some people might think it's kind of yucky, but we use animal hair in our yarn, you know, silk yarn and wool yarn. So I have a whole tin here, and I don't put the hair direct. I have long-haired cats. I don't put the hair directly into the craft because it will stick to everything. So I will make little like pouches from soft sandwich bags, the fold top kind, and they're relatively moldable. Like I could use this partially, but because this will have to be shaped a little bit, I can't really do that with the cat hair. And this you have to kind of work it out to get the acorn shape. So I have a whole arsenal of different options to polyfill for different needs. And the nice thing with when it's in these baggies, if I do need to wash something, I can, you know, make an opening, unsew it, take this out because it's already in the plastic, wash, and then restuff. Okay, so I'm getting my shape here how I want it. And then we'll start working on the cap. And for that you will need your 4.5 millimeter hook again and the brown yarn, whatever brown yarn you've chosen. All right, in this portion of the program, we will be making the cap for the acorn. So this starts again with the magic circle and the 4.5 millimeter hook. So again, how I do it is turn the yarn over to the left, pinch, pull up with the twist, and stitch to secure it. Does not count as a stitch. And I make sure that I have my 2 strips or pieces here that I pinch down and work over. So there's the tail that gets pulled and then the circle itself. So into this ring, I'm going to work 6 stitches, just like we did with the start of the acorn. Tighten it up just a little bit. Wasn't working over both my strands there. All right, so I will double check that I have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Pull closed. Again, I'm going to mark that first stitch. Oh, I'm sorry, let me tell you what yarn I'm using just in case. It's brown yarn, but if you like the way mine looks. So it's the same cotton yarn. You can mix your cotton yarns, that's fine. And this is just called brown. It's a nice, a true chocolate color. And then I'm using an olive, just what I have on hand, for my stem. I think this is a bamboo yarn, but this yarn comes in olive, and it's fine to use cotton. I'm going to mark my 6th stitch, just so I know where my end of the round is. Now my first round, I will slip to join here. The rest I'm going to work in a spiral like before. Pull up, slip, but that is also still a stitch. So I'm going to increase from 6 to 8 for this round. I'll do this increase in the second stitch for my first, and then the next one in stitch number 6. So now I've got 4 stitches. Five stitches. Six, and I'll work that second stitch in there. That's 7, and then, or 6 rather, so there's 7, and then my last stitch is 8. Move my marker. And then for round 3, I'm going to increase up to 12 stitches. I'm not slipping to join anymore. So every other stitch I'll do an increase. Start with the first increase. That's 2, here's 3, 4, 5. Stitch is 1, make 7, next stitch is 2, 8 and 9 stitches, Alright, so I've got my 38 stitches. At this point, so you'll see the side looks different, and I talked about this at the beginning. I want this to be the top, right? So we'll be working this side. You see here in my finished one, I don't know how well you can see on camera with this dark color. So this kind of seed stitch looking top is on the top, just so that it looks really different from the body. So continue this the side you've been working. Which is this side. And I am going to still continue to use my stitch marker. All right, so the first stitch, single crochet. Put my marker back in. I'm going to use a marker this time because of the bobble is so bulky. The string could get a little bit, when you come around, a little bit lost figuring out where your stitch is. Okay, so to work the bobble for this particular style pattern, it's different for different, uses, blankets and whatnot. You're going to yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. Yarn over, go into the stitch again, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. Now there's 3 loops on hook. Again, yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up, pull through 2, and one more time. So you'll do this 4 times, 5 loops on hook. Pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I have 5 loops on my hook. Yarn over, pull through all of them. Then single crochet. Then next, work into the next stitch, a single crochet. And then that creates the bobble on this side that will be the facing up part. So next, bobble again. So this is alternating bobble stitch with single crochet. Yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up, yarn over, pull through 2. Do that 3 more times until you have 5 loops on the hook. Yarn over, go in, pull through 2, yarn over, go in, pull through 2, and 1 more time. Yarn over, pull through 2, 5 loops on hook, pull through all 5, single crochet. That finishes the stitch, then work single crochet in the next. Right, so I'm going to work that all the way around. You will have 19 single crochet and 19 bobbles. But what we do with the extra single crochet that's made once the bobble is completed is a little different. So we'll talk about that as we go to work another round of this in the next round. So I'll meet you back at the end. Right, I'm at my end of round. I'll work my single crochet, my last stitch. Now we're going to repeat this again, but it's going to stagger. Okay, so that first single crochet of the round that I made, I'll work the bobble stitch in there. And then 5 loops on hook, yarn over, pull through, chain 1. So what I would say to help you understand how this is working, that yarn over, pull through stitch right here, this kind of long stretched stitch, that's not a stitch. Don't count that, ignore that. We're not working with that. So you'll see here, it's coming close. Get my pointer out. All right, so next is a bobble stitch I have to work into. So I just did a bobble, now I have to do a single crochet. So let's look. Here's that long stitch that the bobble made, then the chain 1 to kind of close it up, then the single crochet. This doesn't exist, right? Just pay no mind to that. Work the single crochet into the single crochet of the bobble stitch, that kind of bonus single crochet. Then the single crochet between the bobble stitch and this one here, right? So you'll see, because it indents down, it goes like valleys and hills. So we'll go into that single crochet, yarn over, work a bobble stitch. One, 2, 3, and 4. So there's my 5 loops on hook, yarn over, pull through. And I picked up the wrong hook, so let's get the 4.5 back. All right, again, skip that stitch. Here's the single crochet, the bobble single crochet. Make sure I get both loops on hook. And then bobble into the valley there, into this single crochet stitch. 1, 2, 3, and 1 more time will give me 5 loops on the hook. Pull through 2, there's my 5 loops, yarn over, pull through all. That does not count as a stitch. Chain 1, and find my next single crochet to work into, which is this one here. All right, so I'm going to finish this around. You see it starting to come together. Making this nice texture. And they're staggered. Now once you've got all of your rounds completed, again, double check, make sure that this is the side facing up and you're still working on this side, because this is going to bring everything in and create this curved cap. Now again, we need to be mindful of stitch placement. So the stitch that grouped together, the bobble stitch, will continue to ignore that. So I'm going to skip this one and work single crochet. Okay, so you'll still have your 38 single crochet. There's 2 single crochet, skip the bobble stitch, single crochet, single crochet, skip the bobble stitch, single crochet, and see now it's starting to curve under, get that cap effect. So continue to work that around, and then I'll be back to do the we'll do the stem and then the twisted curly Q. Those are pretty simple little finishing touches. So you see, so I've got a cap here, and then this is flat, so it looks really nice. All right, so I have my cap done and I've woven in my end. Leave your tail on. You're going to use this to help attach the stem and the curly Q. All right, so let me set that aside, get my stitch marker back out. Now the stem, a little tedious, but it should go pretty quickly. So again, magic circle. $4mm hook. Just scoop up and get this going, and leave a a decent tail so we have it for attaching later. Oops. Crochet, secure it on, and then 6 single crochet. Is closed. Again, I'm going to double check that I can see all 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Mark my 6th stitch. And all you'll do for this is just crochet 6 stitches in a circle for 6 rounds. Just to make a little short stubby column. There's 5, and I'm coming up to my 6th stitch. And I'm not going to move the marker, just turn it outward so I can see where it is. So that's 1 round, and I'll just keep working in a spiral. When you're done, leave a tail for this so that you've got 2 tails. You have the one you're starting from the magic ring, that tail, this one, and then another one, so we'll use that to secure it after the curly Q is made, right? So I'm going to work my 6 rounds of this, and it will look like this when you're done. And we'll come back and make that curly Q and then put everything together. All right, so once the stem is done, this top, this is the tail from the magic ring. Bring that down. So that both of the tails are on the bottom, because we will attach them by pulling them through the center here. Right, and then get started on the little curly Q. Okay, so for this I'm using the 4mm hook. And I'm going to chain 25. All right, 25 chains, second chain from hook, going to work 2 single crochet into the stitch. Next stitch, 2 single crochet, and I'll continue to do this until the last stitch. And it should be coiling as you go. You might have to encourage it a little bit if it starts to look like it's coiling unevenly. But put those 2 single crochet in the same side of your chains that you're doing. Don't work in the back bump, just this back side up here. These stitches up here. And this is a bamboo yarn that I have on hand that you use whatever green you like. I may have, depending on how many I've made by the time this video comes out, I'm doing an olive acorn in the large size. You might see that in the display image of the thumbnail, or else it'll be in the blog post. Oops, I didn't put 2 stitches in that one. All right, so I'm going to finish this and come back, and then we will start assembling our acorns. All right, so I've got the components for the top, and I'm going to turn this face up. There's the face down, and bring through the tail from the starting magic ring of the top of the, yes, acorn top, then the strands of the stem. Pull those through. Cute little top here. And then also the 2 strands from the curly Q. And I'm going to just start knotting these together really tightly, as tight as I can, to lock it all in place. I'll just trim down. I'm going to trim all of it, but just so that any part that might stick out when I'm seaming, I don't want that in the way. Put that in my little scrap pile. Alright, so now to start attaching the lid, I have created a really fat knot at the base of yarn. So this is four, maybe 5 knots, just all worked over each other. And I'm going to come in from, not quite the edge, but the row before. So we have our first round, I'm coming in at the second round, and then there's the third. I already feel my knot grabbed. Pull through my, and I'm just going to do single ply to make it as unobtrusive as possible. So I'm going to come up right at the edge of where the bobble stitches start. Come through and cap it. Oh, these are so adorable. I just love them. Okay, then come down again. Here, with my paper stuffing a little bit. The yarn's on the wrong side of where I'm supposed to be. There we go. And just do several stitches around, kind of keep it in place. So I'm doing 2 sets pretty close together, and then I skipped over about 4 stitches, and I'm doing that, oh gosh, the curly cue's in the way. I'm doing that to minimize how much you can see up here. See, right now it's relatively invisible. You cannot see where those stitches are. And if I were to go further apart, say 1 stitch here and 1 stitch here, you would see that big line right there. There's one right there, it's really subtle. But then underneath, where you see the distance between the first set of stitches and the second, it's greater underneath. All the business is happening below. All right, so now that I'm under here, I can kind of move over a little bit more. Where am I? Here we go. Come up. Again, I'm going to go right next to that. Come through the right place. So I've got it stitched all the way around. Trim this down a little bit. And I've got one last stitch to bring up through here. I'll do that and then weave in my end as I bring it back up through the top. And I can easily hide it in the bobbles. So I'm just going to refresh them. They got smushed down a little bit in the seaming process. Make sure that they have their beautiful texture. Very nice. So it should be a little bigger and protrude over the body. I'm not seaming here, I'm just working my end in. hope you enjoy this pattern. Please give me a like if you did and consider subscribing. And I wish you a very happy fall season. So many of us love this season.